Hey there, welcome back to High Infidelity, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to channel for more spicy stories. Now, let's get into today's story video. Fiancé, 28 male, wants to end our relationship because I, 27 female, didn't choose him first. I apologize if this seems hasty, but my fiancé, Ryan, who I've been with for 7 years, informed me today that he's not sure if he wants to be with me anymore. And I understand that may seem ridiculous, but I love him so much. It feels like my world is coming apart around me, and I don't know what I can do. This all began a few days ago, while we were celebrating our anniversary. We invited a large group of individuals, including one of my best pals, Ellie. She saw my fiancé's warm behavior toward me and made some idiotic remark about how she told me so, that Ryan would be better for me than my ex, Andy. My fiancé was perplexed and asked Ellie what she meant. Andy and Ryan both asked me out to the same event while I was in college. Ryan and I had known each other since high school and had always had a thing, but we weren't a relationship. Furthermore, he attended another institution that was a half-hour drive away from me. Andy came to my college. His dorm was a 5-minute walk away, and he was a total stranger. I started to worry that my relationship with Ryan wouldn't be exciting enough since we already knew so much about one another. Despite Ella's concerns, I opted to go with Andy despite the fact that we were half an hour apart. I realize my reasoning is completely illogical, but I never imagined that this choice would have the ability to devastate my future. Ryan had already been devastated by my refusal to go on a date with him, and I didn't want to make him feel any worse by informing him that I was going with someone else. Not that it mattered, because he stopped talking to me for about 6 months. During this time, it became clear that Andy and I were not a good match, so we called it quits. When Ryan and I started chatting again, I realized how much I missed him and how wonderful he was for me, so I asked him out. He was thrilled, and that's how we got here. I could tell he was in a bad mood for the remainder of the party. He continued pulling away from my kisses/touches and responding with one-sentence responses. When I asked him what was wrong after the party, he merely answered he felt nauseous. He remained chilly and aloof for the following 2 days. I had no clue what was going on, so I waited patiently for him to feel at ease enough to tell me. He informed me today why he'd been behaving out. According to the account, I kept him as a backup or plan B in case my relationship with Andy failed, which was extremely screwed up since we'd clearly had emotions for one another for a long time before then. He also said that he was deserving of being someone's first pick. I'd assumed it was simply insecurity, but he went on to explain that he's not sure he can view our relationship in the same way anymore, and that it would be best if we break up. I begged him not to go that far and suggested that we go to therapy or maybe live apart for a few days while he considers if this is really what he wants. So far, he hasn't said anything except that he is adamantly opposed to going to treatment. I can tell this is weighing hard on him since he's been drinking more than normal, but I'm at a loss for words to make him feel better. We've had a lovely relationship. He's never been conceited or possessive, and although neither of us is perfect, I couldn't ask for a more kind, respectful, intellectual, and charming, soon-to-be, husband. I don't see how all of this may come to an end because of a stupid mistake I did 7 years ago. I'm not sure what I'm seeking for by posting here, but if anybody has any suggestions, please let me know. Update. A few folks have requested for an update, so here it is. It's been a little over 2 weeks, so I'm not sure whether anybody is still interested. For the time being, I'm simply perplexed about what's going on. If anybody has any suggestions or has any clue of what he's thinking, please let me know. After what transpired in the last article, he suggested that we postpone the wedding until we figure out how to continue. Isn't that significant? He said put off instead of cancel, and until we determine how to proceed. That suggests he hasn't decided whether or not we should break up yet. Maybe he'll simply decide not to marry and instead keep our friendship going. I don't believe he's ready to end our relationship just yet, but he's moved into a hotel. I know some people have advised me to give him space, but I've determined that even if a part of him wants to be with me, I'm going to do everything in my power to give him another opportunity. I've been dropping him food, placing messages under his door, and contacting him every day, sometimes twice a day. We're both in limbo right now. We mostly speak about how much we miss one another, our goals, and me telling him that he's my soulmate and that no matter what happens with Andy, I know we'd end up together. Then there are times when he calls in the middle of the night, clearly weeping, and asks things like, What did he have that I didn't? Did you have feelings for him? Was he more comfortable in bed? Was he more attractive than I? Do you still think he's more attractive than me? What exactly does more interesting mean? Do you wish he would have given you another chance? He says he urgently wants to be with me. But when he thinks about me, he remembers that I was always his first choice, but he will always be my second. It bothers him because we had emotions for one other all through high school, but the minute I met Andy, none of that mattered, implying that I felt Andy was worth my time and he wasn't. It crushes my heart to watch him hold back his emotions and attempt to weep quietly, but I promise I'll do whatever to salvage our relationship, even not concealing anything from him. I've asked him to rethink going to counseling, but he won't budge. Some of our common acquaintances are skeptical that he will recover, but I don't care. He hasn't instructed me to stop trying, so I'm not going to. I beg God to let me go back in time and fix the past because I love him more than anything else, even myself. It's as if I'm in some type of bizarre nightmare. We were arguing in bed less than a month ago over who got to name our children, and now a seemingly small mistake I did 7 years ago might destroy the lovely future I desire with Ryan. All I can do right now is be present and hope that he may reconsider, but I have no idea what he is thinking. I understand that this isn't a typical relationship issue, but if anybody has any advice or simply confidence that things will work out, then please tell me. Edit. He phoned about an hour ago. Some of his friends saw this Reddit thread and presented it to him, so he became enraged, questioning why I would tell strangers about our personal difficulties and how he was meant to face his friends and family, now that they all knew the only reason I'm with him is because Andy broke up with me. He realized it wasn't ethical to keep me in the dark for so long without making a choice after reading the comments. He's decided that we should part ways so that I can determine whether it's truly him I want to be with, and that he wasn't simply the convenient decision. I'm at a loss for words right now. It's like though I'm so exhausted that I simply want to sleep forever. I realize some of you think he's a bad guy, but this was just a minor part of our relationship and has nothing to do with who he is as a person. He's the man who spent days researching about my major on top of his own academics, so he could assist me with test preparation and proofreading my papers. He spent thousands of his own hard-earned dollars to give my parents their dream trip to Australia, and he demanded that I pretend I paid for it so they wouldn't feel terrible receiving money from him. I was frightened that my ex would leave after he threatened to reveal nudes I sent him while we were together. He brought me to my favorite restaurant and told me that nothing else could ever change how much he loves me, and then he asked me to marry him so I wouldn't have to worry about him leaving again. My fiancé is the finest guy I've ever known, and the conclusions that everyone here has made based on hearing about such a little portion of our life are horrible. I didn't come here to be convinced that he's immature, insecure, or any of the other things that others have said about him. I should have known better than to publish here, but all I can hope for now is that he notices. I'm not sure what I can say to make this better for my fiancé, and I'm not sure whether you'll be able to recover from it. What I can say is that you are mistaken in believing that I pick you for your convenience. I choose you because you are the most kind, gorgeous, clever, and fascinating guy I've ever met. Every minute we've spent together over the past 7 years, every kiss we've shared, every bagel we've split, and every I love you I've spoken has been for you, and is a confirmation that you are and will always be my first choice. I don't think you want to cut our time together short. I believe you were attempting to recover from the repercussions of a mistake I made, and I unwittingly lit a fire under you by pushing you to make a choice by writing this post. Take as much time as you need to do whatever you need to do to recover from this, and I'll be here for you when you're ready to chat. If you decide that this is something we cannot overcome, I will respect your choice. Nevertheless, I am certain that we are stronger than this. I adore you so much. Edit 2. I'm sorry if this is becoming too lengthy, but he saw my open letter and contacted me to say that he's not guaranteeing anything but that he'll listen. He still refuses to attend a therapist because he doesn't believe our relationship is strong enough to be saved right now. However, several individuals here have indicated a desire to offer him direct guidance, and I persuaded him to speak with others who have gone through this and recovered. If you've had a similar experience, please ask for his throwaway in your answer to this thread or by PMing me. Thank you very much.